With a resounding crack, the auctioneer's hammer fell, signaling a moment of change in a dusty barn. A wave of whispers swept through the crowd as I, Emma Thompson, pushed my way to the front, my heart racing. Clutching a coffee tin filled with crumpled bills and coins, my life savings, I stood tall at just 10 years old, undeterred by the skeptical glances from the adults around me. In the corner of the pen, a German shepherd cowered, his spirit dimmed by neglect and fear. While many saw a broken animal destined for a grim fate, I saw a flicker of hope hidden beneath his sadness. "I'll take him now, please," I said, my voice firm despite the fluttering in my chest. The auctioneer raised an eyebrow, cautioning me. "That dog ain't worth the trouble. He's been returned twice, a failed service dog." But my heart told me otherwise, and as I reached through the wire fence, our eyes met. In that moment, we made a silent promise to each other, a promise of healing and second chances. Neither of us knew it then, but this moment would not only change our lives, but also inspire our entire community. Please leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments along with the city you're watching from. Now let's continue this heartwarming journey. Growing up in Oak Ridge County, I always felt a little different. While other kids spent their allowances on toys, I saved every penny in my father's old coffee tin, hoping to make a difference. My dad, Robert Thompson, was a beloved dog trainer in our small town until he passed away unexpectedly just 14 months ago. His sudden heart attack left my mom, Sarah, and me with cherished memories, growing bills, and his unfinished training manual filled with insights on canine behavior. "You've got your daddy's way with animals," my mom would say, watching me gently coax the neighbor's feisty cat into purring or calming a frightened bird that had flown in through an open window. This gift wasn't just a talent. It was my lifeline to my father, a way to keep his spirit close as I navigated the waves of grief. Life in Oak Ridge had become challenging, as the local mill's struggles affected many families. My mom worked double shifts at the diner, striving to provide for us. Our modest farmhouse, nestled on 2 acres at the edge of town, held memories of happier times, and the weathered barn stood as a testament to my father's dreams, waiting for us to breathe life into them once more. With every step I took toward that trembling dog, I felt a surge of determination. I was ready to embrace the challenge, to nurture him back to life just as my father had taught me. Together, we would not only heal but inspire those around us, proving that love and perseverance can conquer even the darkest days. In a community facing economic struggles, families with special needs often found themselves in difficult situations. Services were scarce, and many had to travel hours to the city for help. My good friend Lily Wilson shared the story of her younger brother, who has autism. I saw how a properly trained service dog could change his life, but such support seemed out of reach for families like theirs in Oak Ridge. At the county auction, one dog in particular caught my attention, a German shepherd with a rough exterior. His coat was dull and patchy, and he bore a certain confusion in his stance. Yet it was his eyes that drew me in. They were a striking amber, filled with intelligence and sadness. It felt as though those eyes held a profound story, one that was waiting for someone to unlock it. I first learned about the auction from Mrs. Wilson, who dropped by with a homemade apple pie. "They're auctioning off animals from that service dog training facility that went bankrupt," she shared. Her words carried the weight of concern for our community. Some of those dogs were almost fully trained. That night, as I lay awake, I couldn't shake the thought of those dogs. What would their fate be? By morning, I knew I had to go to the auction, even if just to see those dogs for myself. I had saved up $237.42, a collection of birthday money, Christmas gifts, and earnings from walking Mrs. Peterson's poodle and helping Mr. Jenkins with his garage. This was my chance to make a difference. "Mom, can I go to the county auction on Saturday?" I asked at breakfast, casually stirring my cereal. My mother, Sarah, looked up from her nursing textbook, her eyes weary but filled with love. She had been studying hard to create a brighter future for us. "To the auction? What for, honey?" she inquired. "I just want to look," I replied, trying to sound nonchalant as I avoided her gaze. Mrs. Wilson had mentioned the dogs from the training facility. My mother sighed, recognizing my determination, which mirrored my late father's. "We can't afford a dog right now, Emma. Just the vet bills." "I know," I interrupted, "but I just want to see them." Maybe I can make a difference, Emma thought as she prepared for the county fair auction. After some convincing, her mom Sarah agreed to drop her off, but not without reminding her to stay close to Mrs. Wilson's nephew at the concession stand. "Just looking," Sarah reminded her gently, "and I'll be back at noon." Saturday dawned with a sky full of clouds, but Emma's heart was filled with excitement as she approached the bustling fairgrounds, where the air buzzed with anticipation. As Emma wandered toward the animal pens, she felt a mix of hope and curiosity. The dogs on display were lively and responsive, showcasing the potential to be amazing service animals. Golden retrievers and Labradors caught her eye, each one brimming with energy. Despite the facility's struggles, dedicated volunteers worked tirelessly to care for these animals, showing the power of community and love. But then her gaze fell on a German shepherd in the far corner, lying motionless. At first, Emma's heart sank, fearing the worst. His ribs protruded beneath a dull coat, and flies buzzed around him, seemingly unnoticed. "What's wrong with that one?" she asked a volunteer, her voice laced with concern. The volunteer glanced over, her frown reflecting the sadness of the situation, and Emma felt a wave of empathy wash over her. Emma couldn't tear her eyes away from the struggling dog, her heart aching for him. She knew he deserved a second chance. With determination, Emma continued to watch, hoping for a miracle. Two handlers approached, gently coaxing the German shepherd toward the auction block, but he could hardly walk. Emma's heart raced. This dog needed someone to believe in him. "Next up, lot number 47. This male German shepherd is about 3 years old," the auctioneer announced. "He has some health issues and didn't complete service training." The room fell silent as he began the bidding at $100. Emma felt a surge of courage. She knew this was her moment. "Do I hear 75? The auctioneer asked, glancing nervously at the crowd. Emma's hand shot up before she could think twice. $50, she called out, her voice trembling but resolute. Mr. Anderson squinted into the crowd, surprised. "Who made that bid?" Emma stepped forward, feeling the weight of everyone's gaze. "I bid $50, she exclaimed, her voice growing stronger. A ripple of surprise coursed through the audience. "Little girl, this isn't a typical pet auction," Mr. Anderson cautioned. "This dog needs medical attention and special care," Emma insisted, determination shining in her eyes. "I have $237.42, she declared, pulling out her coffee tin, filled with her savings. "I know about dogs. My dad was Robert Thompson." She could see the recognition in the auctioneer's eyes. Her father's legacy of love and training resonated in the community. "Even so, young lady, your parents would need to." "My mom dropped me off," Emma interjected, her heart racing but her spirit unwavering. "She knows I'm here," Mr. Anderson thought, scanning the crowd, hoping for someone else to bid and ease his heartache. But when silence fell, he sighed. "Going once at 50, going twice, sold to the young lady in the front." In that moment, Emma's determination shone bright. The next hour rushed by in a blur as Emma completed the paperwork with the help of Mrs. Wilson's nephew, who had noticed the excitement and come to lend a hand. He called Sarah at work, leading to a tense conversation that Emma could sense even without hearing the words. When Sarah finally arrived at the fairgrounds, her cheeks flushed with worry, she found that the deal had already been sealed. Thunder had officially found his new home with Emma, along with his medical records and training history. As Sarah approached her daughter ready to express her concerns, her words caught in her throat when she saw the frail animal lying by Emma's side. The girl was gently stroking Thunder's head, whispering sweet reassurances meant just for him. "He was going to be put down, Mom," Emma said softly without breaking her gaze. "Nobody wanted him." In that moment, Sarah felt the depth of her daughter's compassion and the bond they were forming. Realizing that love could create miracles even in the most challenging circumstances. With her eyes closed for a moment, Sarah felt the weight of frustration and practical worries pressing down on her. But then, the loving memories of her late husband and their daughter's compassion filled her heart. "We can't afford the vet bills, Emma. This dog looks seriously ill," she said, her voice thick with concern. Emma, with a spark of determination, replied, "Dad's emergency fund. He would have wanted us to use it for this." That emergency fund, a small policy Robert had set aside for their future, seemed like a lifeline now. As Sarah looked into her daughter's eyes, she saw a reflection of hope and healing, a reminder that love could triumph even in tough times. The drive home was serene, with Thunder, the dog they had rescued, lying peacefully across the back seat, his head resting on Emma's lap, as if sensing the warmth of their newfound bond. Though Thunder was too weak to sit up, his eyes were filled with gratitude as they fixated on the girl who had chosen him when others had overlooked him. By the time they arrived at their farmhouse, the news of Emma's selfless act had spread like wildfire through Oak Ridge. Mrs. Wilson was already waiting on their porch, ready with a cozy dog bed and supplies. Shortly after, Mr. Jenkins pulled up with his son, a veterinary student eager to help, offering to examine Thunder free of charge. As they carried Thunder into the house, past the dusty training equipment that had once filled the barn with memories of Robert, a new energy filled the air, a promise of hope and healing for the Thompson family. A renewed sense of purpose filled the air as Sarah and Emma embraced the challenge ahead, feeling a spark of rightness return to their lives after 14 long months. The first week with Thunder tested Emma's strength in ways she hadn't expected. Despite her determination and the wisdom from her father's training notebooks, she found herself overwhelmed by the struggling German Shepherd. Thunder, in such a fragile state, turned away food with vacant looks, as if he had lost the will to fight. Each morning before school, Emma would sit by his side, gently offering small pieces of boiled chicken or scrambled eggs, whispering, "Please eat," her heart aching for the furry companion who needed her most. Yet Thunder remained unresponsive, his once bright amber eyes dim. At night, Emma would curl up beside him, reading aloud from her father's notebooks, hoping her voice could wrap him in warmth and comfort. Sarah watched with a mixture of concern and admiration, knowing her daughter's heart was deeply invested in this fight, even as it looked increasingly challenging. On the fourth day, Emma returned home to find her mother on the phone with the veterinarian, discussing difficult choices. Overwhelmed, she slipped away to the barn, seeking solace among her father's old training tools, finding strength in the legacy he left behind. Sitting there, surrounded by the familiar scent of leather and sawdust that brought memories of her father rushing back, Emma allowed herself to feel the weight of her emotions. "I don't know what to do, Dad," she whispered into the quiet. "I thought I could save him, just like you would have. I thought I had that special connection with animals, like you always said." Just then, a comforting hand rested on her shoulder, and she turned to find Mrs. Wilson beside her, bringing supplies and a warm casserole. The elderly woman joined Emma on the weathered bench, a space once filled with her father's spirited presence, and together they shared a moment of understanding and hope. "Your father faced challenges too, you know," Mrs. Wilson gently reminded Emma, her hands resting in her lap. "The very first dog he tried to help was a lot like Thunder." Emma looked up, her tears shimmering as she listened intently. "That dog wouldn't eat or respond either, and Robert was ready to give up," Mrs. Wilson continued. "But then he discovered that the bush had only been trained to eat on a specific command from his previous owner. Once Robert understood that, everything changed." She squeezed Emma's hand reassuringly. "Sometimes, dear, it's not about pushing harder. It's about understanding and finding the right way forward." Emma nodded, a flicker of hope igniting within her, a reminder that love and patience could light the path to healing. It's all about recognizing the strength that already exists. Mrs. Wilson, a retired veterinary technician, turned out to be more than just a supportive neighbor. She became a vital ally in Thunder's recovery. With her expertise in rehabilitating service and working dogs, she brought invaluable experience and a heart full of compassion for Emma and Thunder. That evening, as Mrs. Wilson headed home, Emma dove into Thunder's paperwork, spreading the documents across the kitchen table. Each detail of his training history was a clue waiting to be uncovered. Sarah joined her, using her nursing background to decode the medical jargon, transforming confusion into clarity. "Look at this," Sarah exclaimed, pointing to a note in the margin of a document. "It says that retraining is only needed for commands from the original handler." Emma's curiosity sparked. Could that mean? She began flipping through her father's notebooks, searching for insights on service dog training protocols. "Dad mentioned something," she murmured, recalling his words about the special bond between dogs and their first trainers. Together, they compiled a list of essential service dog commands. The next morning, Emma decided to approach Thunder's mealtime differently. Instead of offering food directly, she placed the bowl nearby and clearly instructed, "Thunder, take food." At first, nothing happened. She tried again with phrases like "Thunder, mealtime," but still no response. Determined, Emma rifled through her father's notes for more unique commands that might resonate with Thunder. Thunder, she said, locking eyes with him and speaking with unwavering conviction. Thunder, nourish. In that moment, she held her breath, hoping for a spark of recognition. Thunder, nourish, she repeated, her voice steady. Slowly, with great effort, Thunder lifted his head and turned toward the food bowl. With immense determination, he dragged himself closer and took a small piece of chicken into his mouth. Sarah, who had been watching from the doorway, stifled a sob of relief, her heart swelling with hope. Emma remained still, afraid to disrupt this delicate moment. Thunder managed to eat 3 small pieces of chicken before fatigue set in, but it was a breakthrough that ignited a flame of hope where there had once been despair. This moment marked a pivotal shift in Thunder's recovery journey. With a heart full of hope, Emma developed a thoughtful plan to help Thunder regain his strength. Each day, she documented his progress, noting which commands he remembered and which ones needed a little extra love. Mrs. Wilson, with her wealth of knowledge, visited daily, bringing special supplements to nourish Thunder back to health. I'm worried about the seizures mentioned in his records, she shared with Emma, her eyes filled with compassion. They could stem from malnutrition or neurological issues, so let's be prepared. Just as they anticipated, on the 6th day, Emma witnessed her first seizure with Thunder during their morning routine. One moment he was responding eagerly to her commands, and the next he collapsed. Remembering her father's calming advice about canine seizures, Emma remained composed, gently soothing Thunder as she timed the episode with her Mickey Mouse watch, embodying strength and love. After 3 minutes and 22 seconds, Thunder finally relaxed, exhausted but conscious. "You're okay," Emma whispered, her voice a gentle balm as she stroked his side. "I've got you, Thunder." In the doorway, Sarah watched in awe as her daughter demonstrated such bravery. Once Thunder had fully recovered and drifted off to sleep, Sarah joined Emma on the kitchen floor, wrapping her arm around her. "Your father would be so proud of you," she said softly, her heart swelling with admiration. "Not just for helping Thunder, but for being so incredibly brave." Emma leaned against her mother, feeling a wave of exhaustion wash over her, but also a newfound purpose. Mrs. Wilson reassured them that with proper nutrition and medication, Thunder could improve. "And even if the seizures don't disappear completely, we can learn to manage them," Sarah replied, her nursing instincts kicking in as she considered the care needed. Yet, witnessing the bond blossoming between Emma and Thunder, seeing how her daughter's grief transformed into a nurturing spirit, made any challenges ahead feel conquerable. As the first month unfolded, small victories piled up. Thunder began responding to Emma with a growing awareness, his eyes following her every move. By week 3, he stood on his own for short intervals, and by week 4, he took his first tentative steps around the kitchen, a testament to resilience. Each milestone was celebrated and lovingly recorded in Emma's notebook, aptly titled Thunder's Comeback. The transformation was nothing short of miraculous. Thunder's coat regained its shine, and while his ribs were still visible, they no longer seemed to threaten his well-being. His once dull eyes sparkled with intelligence and curiosity. When Emma returned from school, Thunder would lift his head in recognition, sometimes even making an effort to rise and greet her. But perhaps the most inspiring change was in Emma herself. The quiet, grief-stricken girl who had withdrawn from the world after her father's passing was beginning to emerge, her spirit rekindled by love and purpose. Thunder's needs had ignited a spark of purpose within Emma, and in turn, his response to her care rekindled her confidence. While the path ahead remained filled with uncertainty, their bond marked a significant turning point. Together, they found strength to keep moving forward. As the vibrant spring unfolded in Oak Ridge County, so did Thunder's remarkable transformation. This once skeletal German Shepherd began to walk with newfound confidence around the Thompson property. With Emma leading him on longer walks each day, his once dull coat now shone with rich black and tan hues, glistening in the morning sun. Though still regaining his strength, his muscles were rebuilding under Emma's careful guidance, using exercise routines inspired by her father's notes. From her kitchen window, Sarah Thompson watched in awe as her daughter and Thunder blossomed together. Emma, once burdened by quiet grief, now radiated purpose while training with Thunder. The nightmares that had haunted her since Robert's passing began to fade, soothed by Thunder's comforting presence at the foot of her bed. Their mutual healing was a beautiful sight that Mrs. Wilson recognized during her visits to check on Thunder. Your Robert always said that sometimes the most broken animals become the most loyal companions once they learn to trust again, she reflected, reminding them both of the power of love and resilience. Although Thunder faced challenges with seizures, their frequency decreased thanks to proper nutrition and the thoughtful medication plan that Mrs. Wilson had helped establish. Emma had become remarkably adept at recognizing Thunder's subtle warning signs, those fleeting moments of disorientation and the distant look in his eyes that hinted at an impending episode. She meticulously documented each occurrence, noting timing, duration, and potential triggers, creating a record that even impressed the county veterinarian during Thunder's follow-up appointment. "You've got a bright future in veterinary medicine, young lady," Dr. Harrison remarked, reviewing Emma's detailed notes. "This is more thorough than many case files I see from my technicians." Emma's dedication to Thunder's rehabilitation went beyond mere physical care. She embraced her father's training philosophy, understanding that mental stimulation was just as vital as exercise for working dogs. Incorporating simple tasks and commands into their daily routine, she nurtured a bond that promised a brighter future for them both. One evening, a wonderful breakthrough unfolded as Emma discovered that Thunder, her loyal German shepherd, responded instantly to hand signals paired with verbal commands. It was a true testament to the remarkable training that service dogs undergo. With excitement, Emma raised her palm flat toward Thunder, saying, "Thunder, settle!" In an instant, he lowered himself to the ground, eyes bright and attentive. Then, with a simple gesture, she invited him to rise, and he positioned himself perfectly at her side. This incredible connection revealed that Thunder was not just any dog. He knew over 30 specialized commands, showcasing his extensive training even more than they realized. Inspired, Emma began to explore various commands from her father's books and online resources. Each new discovery deepened their bond and brought hope into their lives. She soon learned that Thunder could open doors by pulling on attached ropes and even brace himself to provide stability, although he was still regaining his strength for the more demanding tasks. One rainy Saturday afternoon, while tidying up her father's desk, a task she had avoided since his passing, Emma stumbled upon a locked drawer. To her surprise, a small key taped beneath the desk blotter unlocked a folder filled with a correspondence from various service dog organizations. Among the letters was a familiar name from Thunder's paperwork, Northeast Service Canines. "Mom," Emma called out, excitement bubbling in her voice as she spread the papers across the kitchen table. "Dad was consulting for the same organization that trained Thunder. Look at these letters. They were seeking his advice on their training protocols." As Sarah examined the documents, recognition illuminated her face. "Your father mentioned this project. He was helping them improve their training methods for seizure alert dogs. It was his last consulting job before..." Suddenly, the pieces of the puzzle came together for both of them. Thunder had been part of a specialized training program developed with the guidance of Robert Thompson. The synchronicity felt almost magical, as if Robert had led Emma to this extraordinary dog, forging a bond that transcended their loss and filled their hearts with renewed purpose and connection. As Emma delved deeper into Thunder's medical records, a pivotal truth emerged, a piece of the puzzle that had been initially overlooked. Thunder hadn't developed seizures during his training. He had been specially chosen for the seizure response program due to his remarkable sensitivity to pre-seizure signals in humans. His own seizures began only after financial struggles at the facility led to cuts in essential care and nutrition. Emma's heart swelled with understanding. Thunder wasn't failing as a service dog. He was a dedicated candidate whose training had been cut short by circumstances beyond his control. It wasn't his inability, but rather his untimely illness that had halted his progress. This insight ignited a spark in Emma's heart, shifting her perspective on Thunder's training. With Mrs. Wilson's support and her father's insightful notes, she began to view Thunder not merely as a rescue project, but as a phenomenal professional waiting to complete his interrupted training journey. His responsiveness to commands wasn't just a sign of good behavior. It reflected the extensive groundwork laid in his training. Inspired, Emma realized they could pick up where they left off, allowing the seeds of hope to blossom into action. She threw herself into researching service dog training, particularly for seizure alert dogs, determined to ensure Thunder could fulfill his purpose. Many organizations initially dismissed her due to her age, but one retired trainer, impressed by her insightful questions and clear dedication, agreed to mentor her through emails and weekly phone calls. As summer unfolded, bringing long sunny days perfect for training, Emma and Thunder established a structured routine filled with optimism. Their mornings began with invigorating walks that gradually progressed to light jogs around the property. Midday sessions were dedicated to reinforcing commands and enhancing response times. Afternoons were filled with specialized skills, retrieving specific items, navigating obstacles, and practicing alert behaviors. Sarah, initially worried about her daughter's intense focus, soon recognized the profound healing and therapeutic value this journey held for Emma, as they both embraced the light of hope and resilience together. The training sessions breathed new life into Emma's days, filling them with purpose and hope. Each small achievement became a stepping stone, transforming the static grief of loss into a dynamic journey of healing. While other children splashed in pools and enjoyed carefree summer days, 10-year-old Emma poured her heart into her work with Thunder, her devoted rescue dog. As the community watched, skepticism turned to curiosity and then to genuine support. Neighbors who once whispered about the poor Thompson girl now gathered to cheer on Emma and Thunder's progress. Mr. Jenkins, inspired by their bond, crafted a set of training obstacles as a surprise for Emma's 11th birthday, filling their barn with excitement and celebration. Even Ms. Parker, Emma's teacher, contributed to the journey, sharing books on animal behavior from her brother at the zoo, nurturing Emma's passion and dedication. The turning point for Emma and Thunder's journey came during Oak Ridge's annual 4th of July picnic, an event buzzing with energy and laughter. Initially hesitant, Sarah worried about Thunder's ability to handle the crowd, but Emma's unwavering belief in Thunder's progress shone through, and they ventured out, ready to leave if necessary. Clad in a vest lovingly sewn by Mrs. Wilson, Thunder navigated the lively park with impressive calm, staying right by Emma's side despite the excitement around him. When the high school band struck up their lively tunes, sending many dogs into a frenzy, Thunder stood firm, his eyes never leaving Emma, embodying loyalty and trust. The moment that truly unveiled Thunder's remarkable spirit came when little Timmy Wilson, who had been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, began to feel overwhelmed by the noise and activity. As Timmy rocked and covered his ears, Thunder instinctively stepped in, positioning himself between Timmy and the crowd. This protective gesture created a calming barrier, allowing Timmy to focus on the serene presence of his new friend. As the tension lifted, Mrs. Wilson approached Emma and Sarah, tears of gratitude in her eyes. Thunder's intervention not only eased Timmy's distress, but also showcased the profound bond between humans and animals, illustrating how love and friendship can light the way through even the most challenging moments. "That's not just good training," she said softly. "That's something extraordinary, something innate." The news of Thunder's remarkable behavior at the picnic spread through Oak Ridge like wildfire, igniting curiosity and admiration. Emma found herself sharing the incredible world of service dogs with people of all ages, patiently explaining how these animals could be trained to assist with various disabilities. Thunder's documented seizures transformed from a perceived challenge into a powerful story of resilience and purpose, the dog who turned his own health struggles into a beacon of hope for others. As summer continued, Emma made a bold decision about Thunder's training. Instead of focusing solely on seizure alert work, as was initially intended, Emma chose to adapt his training to meet a variety of support needs she observed within their community. In Oak Ridge, there were no service dogs available, and the nearest organization was 3 hours away, with a waiting list that felt endless. "Dad always said a good trainer listens to what the dog is telling them," Emma explained to her mother. "Thunder is showing us he has a gift for different kinds of support work. Let's follow his lead." Sarah, who had seen Thunder's incredible instinctive response to Timmy Wilson, couldn't help but agree. "Your father would be proud of you," she said, gently stroking Emma's hair. "He always believed in harnessing a dog's natural instincts." Through her careful observations and documented training sessions, Emma uncovered Thunder's unique strengths. He thrived in chaotic environments, displayed a protective stance around those who needed it most, and had an uncanny ability to retrieve items by scent. These talents, along with his established commands, positioned him as a potential asset for many support roles. One hot August afternoon, while Emma and Thunder were training in the coolness of the barn, an unexpected visitor arrived. Carol Jenkins, the mother of Emma's classmate Zach, pulled into the driveway in her minivan. Surprised by the unannounced visit, Sarah greeted her at the door. "I'm sorry to intrude," Carol began, her hands twisting nervously. "But I've been hearing about what Emma's doing with that incredible German Shepherd. I..." She paused, blinking rapidly. "Zach's been diagnosed with epilepsy. The doctors think that's what's causing his dizzy spells at school. We're trying medication, but it's not fully controlled yet, and he's terrified of having a seizure in public." Sarah called Emma from the barn, and Carol gently shared her story with both of them. "I know this is an unusual request," she concluded, "but I was hoping Emma might talk to Zach about how she handles Thunder's seizures." Zach was hesitant to talk to the hospital counselor, but there was a spark of joy when he heard about a dog that shared his struggle with seizures. What started as a simple discussion about coping strategies blossomed into a heartwarming connection. As Emma showcased Thunder's training, the loyal German Shepherd suddenly became fixated on Zach, mirroring the alertness he had shown with Timmy Wilson at the picnic. In a touching moment, Thunder leaned against Zach's leg, his gaze keen and protective. Just moments later, Zach experienced a small seizure, one that might have gone unnoticed without Thunder's vigilant support. This brief episode marked a pivotal moment of reassurance for everyone involved. Thunder's incredible training as a seizure alert dog shone through, proving that his own struggles had not dulled his instincts. "This changes everything," Emma whispered to her mother, her heart swelling with hope as the Jenkins family left with plans to return. "Thunder isn't just a project anymore. He could truly make a difference for kids like Zach." This revelation opened a world of possibilities, but it also brought forth a thoughtful dilemma. If Thunder could provide much-needed alerts for someone like Zach, did Emma have the right to keep him solely as her companion? These questions weighed heavy on her young heart, yet she approached them with remarkable maturity. "Dad always said that service dogs choose their people just as much as people choose them," Emma reflected, sitting cross-legged on the porch with Thunder's head resting gently in her lap. "But how do we know who Thunder is meant to choose?" Sarah watched her daughter grapple with these profound questions, marveling at the maturity blossoming within her. Emma was learning the value of selflessness at a young age, a lesson that many children don't face until much later in life. After a heartfelt talk with Dr. Harrison during Thunder's checkup, clarity began to emerge. "His health has improved remarkably overall," the veterinarian shared, "but these neurological episodes are likely to persist throughout his life, and we can manage them with care." As they drove home, Emma was deep in thought. Finally, as they arrived in their driveway, she spoke with newfound determination. "I know what we need to do with Thunder," she declared. "He can't be a full-time service dog for someone else because he needs his own care." This moment solidified not just her love for Thunder, but also her understanding of the importance of compassion and responsibility. But Thunder has a unique gift that allows him to help people in a way that's truly special. Emma's innovative idea was to transform Thunder into a community resource, focusing primarily on children facing seizure disorders, sensory processing challenges, or anxiety. Instead of being placed with just one person, Thunder would stay by Emma's side, serving as her partner in scheduled support sessions and educational demonstrations. His own experiences with seizures, rather than being a setback, would become a powerful teaching tool, showing children that our differences and challenges can empower us to contribute in meaningful ways. This plan required some creative adjustments to the usual service dog protocols, but to Emma's delight, she found unexpected allies along the way. Ms. Parker stepped up to help Emma craft a presentation for the school board, highlighting Thunder's potential to support students with special needs. Dr. Harrison offered his expertise to monitor Thunder's health and tailor his care plan to fit his new role. Even the local library was excited to join in, hosting regular sessions where children could practice reading aloud to Thunder in a warm, judgment-free space. As summer gracefully transitioned into fall, Emma returned to school with a heart full of hope, and Thunder's calendar began to fill with meaningful engagements. Every Tuesday afternoon, Thunder could be found at the library, lying patiently while shy readers gained confidence in his comforting presence. Thursday mornings before Emma's school day began, Zach Jenkins would visit for what his mother affectionately called seizure buddies time, sessions that intertwined practical seizure management strategies with the loving support of his parents. The weekends blossomed with community education events, where Emma showcased Thunder's skills and raised awareness about the importance of service animals. "You've created something truly remarkable here," Mrs. Wilson told Emma, her eyes shining with pride as they watched Thunder work gently with her grandson Timmy during a scheduled session. "You're not just rehabilitating a dog, you're redefining what service can look like for both animals and individuals with special needs." Emma, filled with joy, watched as Thunder guided Timmy through a simple retrieval exercise, enhancing the boy's focus and sequencing abilities, proving that together, they could illuminate the path to understanding and compassion. Emma felt a wave of certainty wash over her, a feeling that had been absent since her father's passing. "Dad used to say that sometimes our greatest challenges reveal our true purpose," she replied with a smile. "I believe Thunder's seizures don't disqualify him from being a service dog. They simply qualify him for a different kind of service." The journey that began with a hopeful bid at a county auction had blossomed into something truly remarkable for both Emma and Sarah. Thunder, once written off as damaged and untrainable, had transformed into a beloved companion and a trailblazer in community support. Emma, a grieving child seeking solace through a once-abandoned animal, found not only comfort but a calling. She honored her father's legacy in ways that embodied his professional expertise and compassionate spirit. As autumn draped the hills in vibrant oranges and fiery reds, word of Thunder's inspiring role in Oak Ridge began to spread far and wide. Local newspapers began to highlight the innovative community service dog program, igniting interest from regional organizations eager to replicate Emma and Sarah's inspiring model in other rural areas lacking traditional service animal resources. What started as one girl's mission to rescue a dog had blossomed into a powerful community initiative with the potential to touch many lives. One crisp October morning, as Emma completed Thunder's morning exercise routine in their newly revitalized barn-turned-training center, Sarah appeared at the door with exciting news. "There's someone here to see you and Thunder," she said, her face a mix of intrigue and professionalism. "It's Dr. James Reynolds from the National Service Animal Foundation. He's been following Thunder's incredible journey." Emma brushed hay from her jeans and straightened her ponytail, a blend of curiosity and caution bubbling within her. The Thompson property had seen its fair share of visitors, but none with such impressive credentials. Dr. Reynolds stood by Sarah's car, a tall man with silver-streaked hair and a stylish wool coat that seemed a bit out of place against the backdrop of rural Oak Ridge. Yet his genuine smile warmed the air as Emma approached with Thunder proudly at her side. "You must be Emma Thompson," he said, extending his hand, "and this remarkable animal must be Thunder. I've heard extraordinary things about the incredible work you both have been doing." Thunder stood steadfastly at Emma's left, showcasing the calm and alert demeanor that spoke volumes of his transformation. From the skeletal, defeated creature that once stood at the auction to this confident, powerful German shepherd, the change was nothing short of miraculous. "Thank you," Emma replied, shaking his hand with the poise that had become her trademark in professional encounters. "What brings you to Oak Ridge, Dr. Reynolds?" "How about we chat inside," he suggested, noticing the sky brightening. "I have an exciting proposal for you and your mother." At the kitchen table, with adults sipping coffee and Emma enjoying hot chocolate, Dr. Reynolds shared his vision. The National Service Animal Foundation runs exceptional training facilities nationwide, offering specialized service animals to those in need, all made possible through generous corporate sponsorships and donations. "We've been following Thunder's journey through articles and that wonderful feature on regional news," Dr. Reynolds said, his voice smooth and confident. "What you've achieved with him embodies the innovative spirit our foundation seeks to support." He placed a vibrant brochure on the table, showcasing immaculate training facilities, skilled handlers collaborating with various breeds, and joyful recipients meeting their service animals. "We're excited to announce a new regional center opening just 3 hours from here, dedicated to training multi-purpose service animals specifically for children with complex needs. The approach you've pioneered with Thunder, where he works with multiple children instead of just one, perfectly aligns with our community support initiative. Emma listened closely, her eyes reflecting curiosity. That sounds like such important work, she replied thoughtfully. It truly is, Dr. Reynolds affirmed with enthusiasm, and we would be honored to have Thunder join us. Our foundation wants to feature him in our premier program, recognizing your groundbreaking work. He would become our ambassador animal, showcasing the extraordinary potential of dogs often overlooked. Sarah paused, her coffee cup hovering midair. Acquire? She echoed, a hint of concern in her voice. Dr. Reynolds nodded reassuringly. We're ready to offer substantial compensation, of course. Thunder's worth as a training model and public relations asset is immense. He mentioned a figure that left Sarah's eyes wide with surprise. Moreover, we would ensure lifetime care, top-notch veterinary services for his seizure condition, and professional handling to help him reach his full potential. Emma instinctively placed her hand on Thunder's head, feeling a mix of emotion. The German shepherd sensed her tension and leaned closer to her side. You want to take Thunder away from Oak Ridge? Away from the children he's helping now? She asked, her heart heavy. I completely understand your feelings, Dr. Reynolds replied with genuine empathy. But think about the broader impact. At our facility, Thunder could help develop protocols that would benefit hundreds, even thousands of children across the nation. His inspiring story could attract donations that would fund the training of many more service animals. He leaned in, his expression earnest. Sometimes, we must look beyond our immediate community to create lasting change that uplifts many lives. The kitchen was filled with a heavy silence as the weight of the moment settled around them. The financial offer from Dr. Reynolds had the potential to change the Thompsons' lives. It could ease the burden of medical bills from Robert's illness, stabilize their mortgage, and even secure Emma's college dreams. For Sarah, who juggled double shifts while pursuing her nursing degree, such a solution felt like a gift from above. We truly appreciate your interest, Sarah finally said, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. But this isn't a decision we can rush. Thunder is not just a project. He's a cherished member of our family and a source of hope for many children in our community. Dr. Reynolds nodded with understanding. Absolutely, such decisions deserve careful thought. Let me leave my information, and you can reach out when you've had time to reflect. He handed them a business card, elegantly embossed with gold lettering. I'll be around for the next week, exploring sites for our regional facility. Perhaps I could return in a few days. Once Dr. Reynolds left, Emma felt a wave of relief wash over her. Thunder, sensing her unease, gently rested his chin on her knee, offering comfort in a way only he could. Mom, Emma began, her voice unusually soft. I don't think we can do this. Well, we don't have to rush into any decisions, Sarah interjected gently. There's a lot for all of us to consider. The days that followed were filled with deep discussions among the Thompsons. Sarah, ever the pragmatist, acknowledged the life-altering possibilities of Dr. Reynolds' offer. Opportunities like this don't come often, she reminded Emma. It could mean a brighter future for you. Emma, wise beyond her years, understood the family's struggles. She had overheard late-night conversations about bills and had seen the weariness in her mother's eyes after long shifts. Yet something about Dr. Reynolds' proposal felt off to her. It just doesn't sit well, she confided to Mrs. Wilson during one of her visits. Thunder isn't just a service animal. He knows these kids. He has a bond with them, and Dr. Reynolds speaks about him as if he's just a tool. Mrs. Wilson, whose grandson Timmy had blossomed under Thunder's care, regarded Emma thoughtfully. Your father always said that great trainers listen to their instincts just as much as they listen to their animals. What do your instincts tell you, Emma? Just then, Thunder lifted his head sharply, ears perked, as a sleek black SUV with tinted windows glided up the driveway. Dr. Reynolds arrived, accompanied by two esteemed behavioral specialists from the foundation. I hope you don't mind our surprise visit, he said with a charming smile, as Sarah welcomed them in. We were in the area for site evaluations and thought it might be a great opportunity to see Thunder in action. As fate would have it, Zach Jenkins had his regular session with Thunder that afternoon. With Carol Jenkins' consent, Dr. Reynolds and his colleagues observed from a respectful distance. They witnessed Thunder's incredible intuition as he alerted to a small absence seizure before Zach even realized it, providing comfort during the brief moment and helping the boy regain his balance. Reynolds' interest grew as he observed the bond between Thunder and Zach. In a tender moment, while Emma assisted Zach with his journal entry, a therapeutic activity they had crafted together, Dr. Reynolds approached Thunder, gently examining him with a professional eye. "What a remarkable dog," he noted to his colleagues. "Despite his health challenges, his working ability is nothing short of extraordinary. Just imagine the heights he could reach with our support and resources." From across the room, Emma noticed Thunder's subtle discomfort during the examination. A slight tension in his shoulders that others might overlook, but one she had come to recognize through their months of working together. With a soft whistle, she called him back to her side, where he immediately relaxed, comforted by her presence. After the Jenkins family left, Dr. Reynolds couldn't contain his excitement. "I'm even more convinced that Thunder belongs in our program," he proclaimed. "His alerting accuracy is exceptional, and his recovery response is textbook perfect." Emma smiled, knowing that together they were making a difference, not just for Thunder, but for countless others who would benefit from their journey. With the right professional development, Thunder could pave the way for an exciting new certification track, Dr. Reynolds shared, his eyes gleaming with enthusiasm. He turned to Sarah, his sincerity shining through. "Mrs. Thompson, I understand your concerns, but let me be honest. Animals like Thunder, his talent and potential, are truly one in a million. Our foundation is ready to increase our offer significantly." The new figure caught even Mrs. Wilson off guard, her eyes widening in surprise. He continued, "We'd ensure Emma's involvement through annual visits to our training center, recognition in all our publications about Thunder's remarkable achievements, and a college scholarship for her to pursue veterinary medicine or any animal-related field she dreams of." His comprehensive offer seemed to address every concern, and Sarah, who had been steadfast, began to show signs of reconsideration. "That's quite generous, Dr. Reynolds. We'll need to—" But Emma, with quiet determination, interrupted, her voice steady. "No." Emma's unexpected response drew the adults' attention, and they turned to her, curiosity etched on their faces. The weight of her decision hung in the air, a blend of faith in Thunder and a deep understanding of what was truly at stake. She knew that real love and partnership didn't always mean saying yes. Sometimes it was about standing firm in what felt right. "Emma," Sarah began gently, "we should at least think about this." "No," Emma replied with newfound strength. "Thunder isn't for sale, not for any price." She squared her shoulders, channeling her father's confidence that was becoming her own. "He's making a real difference here. Zach needs him. Timmy needs him. The other children who are just starting to help need him too." Reynolds looked at her with a mix of admiration and frustration, but Emma stood her ground. "I appreciate your emotional connection, Emma. It's admirable, but sometimes emotions can cloud our judgment," Dr. Reynolds said. "Thunder could help set up protocols that would benefit thousands of children." "With all due respect," Emma replied, surprising everyone with her composure, "I don't think you fully grasp the situation. Thunder isn't just a tool, he's a partner. He connects with these children, creating bonds that help them feel safe enough to grow." Mrs. Wilson nodded in agreement, inspired by Emma's blossoming confidence. "And there's something my dad always taught me. True training is built on trust and relationships, not just methods. Thunder works the way he does because of our partnership. You can't just hand him off to someone else and expect the same magic to happen." Dr. Reynolds' expression softened a bit, but he still held his ground. "While I admire your dedication, young lady, professionals with years of experience may have a broader understanding of service animal dynamics than a child, no matter how passionate." He turned to Sarah, subtly dismissing Emma from the conversation. "Mrs. Thompson, perhaps we should discuss this alone." But Sarah, filled with pride for her daughter, shook her head. "Actually, Dr. Reynolds, Emma is Thunder's primary handler and trainer. Her insights are vital in any decision about his future." She stepped closer to Emma, a united front. "And I completely support her evaluation." The energy in the room shifted, a sense of respect blossoming. Dr. Reynolds' professional mask slipped for a moment, revealing a flicker of irritation before he regained his composure. "I see. Well, our offer remains on the table, but Thunder's potential is too significant to overlook." He placed another business card on the table, his tone serious. "Should you choose to reconsider, please reach out. Sometimes stepping back from emotional ties can bring clarity." After the foundation representatives departed, Mrs. Wilson let out a low whistle. "That man is not accustomed to hearing the word no," she observed with a hint of admiration. Sarah sank into a kitchen chair, the emotional weight of the conversation clear in her posture. "That was a life-changing amount of money," she acknowledged quietly, not an accusation, but simply recognizing the reality they faced. Emma sat beside her mother, and Thunder settled at her feet with a gentle sigh. "I know, Mom, but Thunder's already changing lives right here," she said, her eyes sparkling with conviction. "And Dad always said some things are far more valuable than money." In the days that followed, Dr. Reynolds made several more attempts to persuade the Thompsons, each offer more generous than the last. News of his interest in Thunder spread like wildfire through Oak Ridge, creating unexpected ripples of conversation in the community. Some neighbors, aware of Sarah's challenges since Robert's passing, questioned whether Emma's bond with Thunder was keeping her from accepting a solution to their financial struggles. Yet, many families whose children thrived thanks to Thunder's loving presence rallied around them in support, demonstrating the power of community. Carol Jenkins took the initiative to organize a community meeting at the local church, where parents shared uplifting stories of their children's progress through interactions with Thunder. Timmy Wilson's doctor provided a heartfelt assessment, documenting the remarkable improvements in the boy's sensory processing and social engagement since starting his sessions with the lovable German Shepherd. The situation reached a pivotal moment when Emma arrived home from school to find Dr. Reynolds earnestly discussing the matter with her mother on the porch, his tone more passionate than ever. "The Foundation's board is growing impatient, Mrs. Thompson," he was saying, his voice steady. "This opportunity may not last forever. We must allocate our resources wisely." Emma paused at the garden gate, Thunder alert at her side, sensing her unease. She noticed a change in the doctor's demeanor, a shift from persuasive to a more urgent tone that resonated with her instinct. "I understand your position," Sarah replied, holding her ground with grace. "But as I've shared before, this isn't just a transaction. Thunder provides vital support to children in our community, children who could benefit from conventional therapy programs if they were adequately funded," Dr. Reynolds countered earnestly. "Imagine this. The foundation could establish a grant for Oak Ridge, offering professional therapy services for every child currently working with Thunder, plus many more. Wouldn't that create a greater impact on our community than just one dog with uncertain health?" Just as Sarah was about to respond, Emma stepped forward, her loyal companion Thunder by her side, embodying the spirit of friendship and support. "Dr. Reynolds," she said with poise, drawing his attention, "can you share why your foundation is so focused on Thunder? There are many trained German Shepherds available through rescue organizations." Her question caught him off guard, showcasing the boldness of youth. "As I've mentioned, Thunder's exceptional qualities and his inspiring journey make him a perfect fit for our pilot program." Emma pressed on, curious and determined. "But what makes him so special? Is it his accuracy, his ability to support recovery, or something deeper?" A flicker of irritation crossed Dr. Reynolds' face before he composed himself. "Young lady, our foundation evaluates many factors that go beyond mere behavioral traits." He attempted to steer the conversation back. "Now, if you'll excuse us, your mother and I were discussing Thunder's future." Emma stood her ground, her voice steady. "Thunder's future involves me, and you still haven't answered my question." Just then, Sheriff Miller arrived, his patrol car stirring up dust in the driveway, providing a welcome interruption. Sheriff Miller had become a frequent visitor since Thunder began helping his nephew, who was overcoming anxiety from a recent car accident. "Good afternoon, Sarah." "Emma," he greeted warmly as he approached the porch, nodding respectfully at Dr. Reynolds. "I hope I'm not interrupting. Just came by to confirm Thunder's session with Tyler on Saturday." Dr. Reynolds excused himself soon after, leaving with an unusual abruptness. Sheriff Miller observed thoughtfully. "Is that the gentleman from the foundation I've heard about?" he inquired, accepting a refreshing lemonade from Sarah. "He's been asking quite a few questions around town about your work with Thunder." "What kind of questions?" Sarah asked, her curiosity piqued. Sheriff Miller shrugged, his tone casual yet alert. "Mainly about Thunder's training history and medical records. He seemed particularly interested in the legal ownership since the auction." As he sipped his lemonade, the sharpness in his eyes conveyed a sense of caution. He wanted to know if the auction paperwork was filed correctly. I thought you should be aware. Sheriff Miller's words cast a temporary shadow over the Thompson household, but Sarah took it as a prompt to ensure everything was in order. That evening, she reached out to the county clerk's office, determined to confirm that all auction documentation was properly filed and recorded, reinforcing her commitment to Thunder and their mission. The clerk reassured Sarah that everything was fine, but a small worry began to stir in her heart. I just can't shake this feeling about Thunder, she said, as she lovingly prepared dinner while glancing out the window. There are so many other service dogs out there. Why is he so special? Emma, seated at the table reviewing Thunder's training log, pondered. Perhaps it's Dad's connection to the original training program. Thunder might hold a significance we haven't discovered yet. As days passed, Emma noticed unfamiliar vehicles slowly cruising past their home, each one sparking her concern. She even spotted a black sedan parked at the end of their road, with someone watching their house through binoculars. When she shared her concerns with Sheriff Miller during his nephew's session with Thunder, his demeanor changed. I'll increase patrols in your area, he assured her, jotting down a note. And Emma, it might be wise to keep Thunder close for now. Taking his advice to heart, Emma adjusted their routine, keeping their training walks closer to home and ensuring Thunder stayed within sight. She began documenting everything: visitors, strange vehicles, and the increasingly urgent calls from Dr. Reynolds. Each detail seemed minor, but together they painted a concerning picture. Mrs. Wilson, with her practical wisdom, suggested a thoughtful measure for their peace of mind. Remember that old trail camera Robert used to track deer? She said to Sarah with a knowing smile. Let's set it up near the barn where Thunder sleeps. They retrieved the camera from storage, placing it strategically, hopeful for some clarity. For several nights, the camera revealed nothing out of the ordinary. Meanwhile, Dr. Reynolds continued to call, each conversation more urgent than the last. Just a reminder, Sarah, he said, the Foundation's final offer expires at the end of the month. After that, this opportunity will be gone for good. His words echoed in Sarah's mind, stressing the importance of their next steps. One windy Tuesday night in late October, Emma was jolted awake by Thunder's urgent barking, a frantic cry that sent her heart racing. From her bedroom window, she spotted an ominous orange glow breaking through the darkness. Mom, she shouted, already slipping on her boots, the barn's on fire. Sarah, appearing in her bathrobe, caught sight of the flames and quickly grabbed the phone. I'm calling 911. Emma, stay put. In that moment of crisis, they would soon discover the strength of their bond and the love that would guide them through the darkness ahead. In a moment fueled by courage, Emma dashed down the stairs and burst into the chilly night, the brisk air invigorating her spirit as she sprinted toward the barn. This beloved structure, over a century old, stood tall amidst the chaos, but flames danced along its weathered wooden siding, ignited by the autumn wind. Thunder, her loyal companion, barked anxiously from within his kennel, sensing the urgency. A 5-9 dine, Bo, come and eat, she called out, determination surging through her. Without a second thought, Emma pulled her pajama shirt up to shield her nose and mouth and bravely stepped inside the barn. The heat enveloped her, and the smoke thickened like a heavy fog, but Emma pressed on, fueled by her love for Thunder. As she reached his enclosure, her fingers trembled on the latch, stinging eyes blurring her vision. It's okay, Bo, she gasped, finally swinging the gate open. Thunder surged out, but instead of heading for safety, he dashed deeper into the barn, drawn to the tack room where Emma kept their cherished training equipment and her father's invaluable notebooks. Thunder, no, Emma cried, panic rising as she chased after him through the smoke. Coughing violently, she pressed on, the heat intensifying. She found Thunder in the tack room, tugging at her father's old training bag, which held precious memories and important records. Believe it, she urged him, but in a moment of unwavering loyalty, Thunder clung to the bag, his eyes filled with a sense of urgency that spoke louder than words. Realizing the importance of their bond, Emma grabbed the bag's strap, and together they pulled it toward the exit, a testament to their unbreakable connection. The smoke swirled around them, growing heavier, while the roar of the flames became a terrifying symphony. Halfway to safety, a burning beam crashed down nearby, scattering sparks and blocking the most straightforward escape route. Emma's lungs burned, and her vision began to fade, but she dropped to her knees, still clutching the bag's strap. Thunder pressed against her, a steadfast guide, leading her toward a narrow gap between the debris and the wall. Outside, Sarah's frantic cries pierced the chaos as neighbors held her back from rushing into the flames. "My daughter's in there," she cried, fighting against their grip, embodying the fierce love that drives us to protect those we cherish. Just as the distant wail of fire truck sirens pierced the air, a remarkable scene unfolded. Thunder, the courageous German shepherd, emerged from the flames of the burning barn, valiantly dragging both the training bag and his young handler, Emma. Clinging to the strap with unwavering determination, Emma fought to stay conscious as they reached the gravel driveway. Thunder, exhausted and breathing heavily from smoke inhalation, collapsed beside her, a true hero in every sense. Paramedics arrived swiftly, administering oxygen to both Emma and her faithful companion as firefighters worked tirelessly to contain the blaze. Although the barn, filled with cherished memories and generations of family history, was lost, the focus was on protecting their home. As Emma slowly regained consciousness in the ambulance, her first word, a whisper filled with love, was thunder. The paramedic, someone with a gentle smile, reassured Emma that Thunder was receiving the care he needed, despite his serious condition. Through her oxygen mask, Emma bravely made a heartfelt request. "Check the bag." Sheriff Miller, who had swiftly arrived at the scene, took charge of Robert Thompson's training bag. Inside, he discovered not only precious notebooks and medical records, but also a surprise: a wildlife camera hastily removed from its mount. At the hospital, while doctors treated Emma for smoke inhalation and minor burns, Sheriff Miller reviewed the camera's footage with a growing sense of urgency. The last clips, recorded just hours before the fire, revealed two shadowy figures approaching the barn, one clutching a gas can. Despite their obscured faces, one figure stood out, a tall man with distinctive silver-streaked hair, unmistakably Dr. James Reynolds, directing his companion toward the barn's rear. The evidence of arson was clear, casting a shadow over the Thompsons as they faced this new reality. Though their barn and all the training equipment were gone, the true spirit of resilience shone through. Emma would heal from her physical injuries, though the emotional scars would take longer to mend. Most heart-wrenching of all was Thunder's condition, as he fought to recover from a severe seizure brought on by the traumatic ordeal. As dawn broke over the charred remains of the barn, Sarah held Emma's hand tightly in the hospital room. Both were weary, but the bond of love and hope remained unbreakable. "Why, Mom?" Emma whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "Why would he do this?" In that moment, amidst the pain, they knew that together they would rise again, just like Thunder, embodying strength and unwavering love. In the aftermath of a devastating barn fire, Sarah struggled to comprehend the depths of human malice. The question lingered in the air, heavy like the smoke that clung to their clothes. What drove someone to such desperation over a single German shepherd with a seizure condition? News of the tragedy spread swiftly through Oak Ridge, uniting the community in unexpected ways. By noon the following day, the Thompsons' driveway overflowed with the compassionate neighbors, each carrying food, supplies, and heartfelt offers of help. Sheriff Miller announced the fire was under investigation as arson, carefully keeping details about the suspects under wraps to support the ongoing inquiry. Organized by Mrs. Wilson with unwavering dedication, relief efforts sprang into action, with volunteers rotating to support Emma at the hospital. Carol Jenkins and her son Zach took the lead in coordinating donations of training equipment, eager to replace what had been lost in the blaze. Even Mr. Anderson, the auctioneer who had once doubted Emma's ability to care for Thunder, arrived with lumber and tools, pledging to spearhead the barn's reconstruction once the investigation cleared the site. "This community stands strong together," he told Sarah, his weathered hands gripping his hat with pride. "Always has, always will." The love and support pouring in were truly uplifting, yet for Emma, nothing could fill the aching void left by Thunder's absence. The brave German shepherd remained in critical condition at Oak Ridge Veterinary Hospital, battling respiratory issues in the aftermath of a major seizure. Dr. Harrison allowed Emma to visit daily, though these moments often ended in tears as she witnessed her beloved partner's struggle. "He saved my life," she whispered tenderly during one visit, her fingers gently caressing Thunder's ear as he lay sedated. "He could have run away, but he came back for me." Sheriff Miller's investigation moved swiftly, bolstered by the camera footage and physical evidence gathered from the scene. The second man in the footage was identified as a former employee of Northeast Service Canines, the organization that had once trained Thunder but had fallen on hard times. When confronted with the evidence, the man quickly implicated Dr. Reynolds in exchange for leniency. Just 5 days after the fire, Sheriff Miller approached Emma at the hospital, where she was preparing for discharge. His demeanor was unusually serious as he asked for a private word with her and Sarah. "We've pieced together the truth behind this situation," he began, opening his notebook. "Dr. James Reynolds isn't who he claimed to be, and while the National Service Animal Foundation is real, he does not work for them. Meet James Renfield, once the research director at PharmaPet Laboratories, a hidden gem focused on developing revolutionary medications for animal neurological disorders." Sarah furrowed her brow, curious about this little-known facility. Sheriff Miller explained, "They've been working on a groundbreaking treatment for canine epilepsy, a drug that could change the lives of many dogs." Emma's eyes lit up with realization. "Thunder," she whispered, the connection sparking hope within her heart. Exactly. Thunder was a key part of their initial research, specially bred for his unique neurological traits. But when the service dog facility faced financial ruin and auctioned their animals, Thunder disappeared from their radar. "Why go to such lengths to retrieve him?" Sarah questioned. "There must be other dogs." Sheriff Miller turned a page and replied, "Thunder isn't just any dog. He's a perfect responder, the only one whose brain chemistry reacts ideally to their experimental treatment." Without Thunder, their research faced a standstill. Emma's heart sank at the thought. They wanted to bring him back to a laboratory where conditions were less than humane. With their primary funding cut due to unethical practices, Renfield was desperate to reclaim Thunder, not just for the research, but for his own career. It was a troubling revelation, and despite understanding the motivation, Emma felt a rising anxiety. The barn was in ruins, Thunder's health was fragile, and she grappled with a new fear. What if this story went public? Would it attract the attention of other researchers? The next morning, as Emma returned home, a sleek corporate she pulled into the driveway. Sarah met the visitors, professionals from the National Service Animal Foundation, here to offer support after hearing of the misuse of their name. "We're truly sorry for what you've faced," the woman said, presenting her credentials. Initially hesitant, Sarah insisted on verifying their identities with the sheriff's office and the foundation itself. Once confirmed, the conversation took a surprising and hopeful turn, opening new avenues for Thunder's safety and well-being. "Our journey with Thunder has been one of hope and perseverance," the male representative said warmly. "We've been closely watching the farm situation, always with an eye towards ethical practices. When we discovered that Thunder had been rescued through the auction, our hearts lifted." His colleagues shared that joy, nodding in agreement. "Your daughter's innovative approach with Thunder, especially his community service model, aligns beautifully with our foundation's vision. We're excited to offer our support to rebuild your training facility, provide essential medical care for Thunder, and document your inspiring methods for others to learn from. Unlike the other proposal, ours requires nothing but collaboration to keep Thunder where he belongs. We believe in the partnership we're proposing, which would allow Thunder and Oak Ridge to flourish together," the woman emphasized, her admiration for Emma shining through. "The idea of service animals supporting children with similar health issues is groundbreaking." As the foundation representatives detailed their plan, Emma felt a surge of relief. This partnership not only promised financial support, but also validated the incredible work she and Thunder had accomplished. Most importantly, it would protect Thunder from any future claims, ensuring he remained a cherished part of their lives. The evening brought even more uplifting news when Dr. Harrison called from the veterinary hospital. "Thunder's latest test results are showing remarkable improvement," Dr. Harrison announced, his voice radiating optimism. "His respiratory function is stabilizing, and we haven't seen any seizure activity in the past 36 hours. Emma's heart raced at the possibility. "Could this mean he's on the mend?" she asked, hope blossoming within her for the first time since the fire. Dr. Harrison advised caution but added, "I'm increasingly optimistic. Moreover, the medication protocol is yielding better results than we anticipated. Specialists believe that Thunder's seizure condition might be manageable in ways we hadn't even dreamed of before." The partnership with the National Service Animal Foundation truly transformed Thunder's journey. With the help of a specialist, he received advanced medical care that was once out of reach for a small town like Oak Ridge. Miraculously, within just 2 weeks, Thunder was stable enough to return home, though his recovery still required diligent care. In a surprising turn, the investigation into PharmaPet revealed that their prized experimental compound, which they had aggressively pursued, was fundamentally flawed. Independent scientists discovered that the medication could have caused serious long-term damage to dogs' neurological systems, despite its initial effectiveness in controlling seizures. This revelation highlighted not only their unethical practices, but also a dangerous misunderstanding of animal care. Thunder's escape from that program turned out to be a blessing in disguise. As autumn gracefully shifted into winter and the scars from the fire began to heal, the Thompson family found themselves at the heart of a remarkable story of resilience. With the foundation's support, Thunder not only recovered, but also opened the door for new opportunities within their community service model. Construction began on a state-of-the-art training facility tailored to their program's unique needs. Most importantly, Emma's innovative approach to working with Thunder, despite his health challenges, laid the groundwork for a new classification of service animals, those with managed medical conditions who could serve as therapeutic partners for individuals facing similar challenges. The methods she developed instinctively became the foundation for new professional guidelines being implemented across the nation. Sometimes, Sarah reflected, as they admired the framework of the new barn rising from the ashes of the old, the worst things that happen to us lead to the best possible outcomes. Emma, with Thunder steadfastly by her side, wholeheartedly agreed. 6 months after the fire, on a radiant spring morning with dew sparkling on the grass, Emma stood proudly at the entrance of the newly completed training facility. This modern space bore no resemblance to the old weathered barn. It was thoughtfully designed with specialized areas for diverse training needs, climate control for comfort throughout the year, and accessible features for children with various physical abilities. Above the main entrance, a beautifully hand-carved wooden sign proudly read, "Thompson Thunder Training Center," adorned with a silhouette of a German shepherd, symbolizing hope and new beginnings. Today was a momentous occasion, the official opening of a facility that had brought together hearts from near and far. The newly expanded parking area buzzed with excitement, filled with a blend of familiar Oak Ridge trucks and the sleek cars of Foundation representatives, regional media, and even a state senator, whose grandson had recently begun a journey alongside a service dog. "Feeling nervous?" Sarah asked, gently adjusting the collar of Emma's new blue blazer, a thoughtful gift from Mrs. Wilson. Emma smiled, her hand resting reassuringly on Thunder's head. The German shepherd had triumphed over his challenges, his remarkable recovery a testament to resilience, though he occasionally labored during activity and needed medication for his seizures. He was a beacon of hope and strength. "Not nervous," Emma replied, her mind drifting to her father. "I just wish Dad could see this." Sarah's eyes glistened as she lovingly straightened a cherished photo of Robert Thompson, proudly displayed in the facility's entrance hall. "He would be so proud, Emma, of the incredible program you've created and the person you've become while achieving it." The ceremony unfolded with the warmth and spirit of the Oak Ridge community. Sheriff Miller shared the inspiring story of Emma's journey from an impulsive auction purchase to establishing a groundbreaking program that would change lives. Mr. Anderson, who once doubted the vision, handed Emma the keys to the new facility, a gesture filled with newfound respect. "This remarkable young lady," he declared to the crowd, "has taught me invaluable lessons about faith, perseverance, and seeing potential where others see only obstacles." The National Service Animal Foundation presented the official certification of the Thompson Thunder Training Center, marking it as an authorized affiliate facility. This honor opened the door for ongoing support and the training of service animals across the region, amplifying the impact of Emma's dreams. The highlight of the day arrived when the children who had worked alongside Thunder presented a heartfelt gift, a handmade quilt adorned with squares designed by each child, celebrating their unique experiences with the life-changing German Shepherd. Zach Jenkins, now nearly seizure-free thanks to the assistance and dedication of Thunder, stepped forward to share his gratitude on behalf of the group. "As I stood before Thunder and Emma, I felt a sense of calm wash over me. I recalled the fear that once enveloped me, fear of the next seizure, fear of being different, fear of exposing my vulnerabilities. But Thunder changed everything. He taught me that being different is not just okay. It's often what makes us truly special." After the ceremony wrapped up and laughter filled the air, Emma found a serene moment in the meditation garden, a beautiful space lovingly designed by Mrs. Wilson. Surrounded by young maple trees, it felt like a sanctuary for children needing a moment of peace or a place for Thunder to rest. "We did it, boy," Emma whispered, gently tracing the scar on Thunder's side, a mark of the fire that almost took them both. The connection between them was profound, a bond that transcended words. Just then, Dr. Harrison arrived, a devoted ally in their journey, bringing care and support for Thunder's ongoing treatment. "What a remarkable transformation," he said, settling next to Emma, admiring both the facility and the incredible spirit of Thunder. He touched the healed scar, his eyes filled with professional curiosity. "I've been examining his latest test results, and I must say, they show stability I never anticipated. It seems that what they intended in that laboratory led to something extraordinary." Emma nodded, reflecting thoughtfully. "He's special, not because of his past, but because of the incredible journey he's taken to become who he is today." She gazed toward the main building, where the air was filled with joy and laughter. "My dad always said that true training is about partnership, not control. Thunder has taught me that lesson far more than I could ever teach him." As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow, I noticed Sarah finding Emma still in the garden, sketching out plans for next year's programming with a heart full of hope. Thunder lay peacefully at Emma's feet, lost in dreams of his own. "The Foundation representatives are excited about expanding the youth training program," Sarah shared, settling beside her daughter. "They believe many more children could benefit from learning how to bond with animals just like you did with Thunder." Emma looked up, her eyes sparkling with possibility. "You mean teaching other kids to be handlers?" Sarah beamed. "Yes, they're calling it the Junior Handler Initiative. They want to find children who share your empathy and instinct, providing them with structured training to cultivate those gifts." A playful grin spread across Sarah's face. "And they think you'd be perfect to lead the program, even at just 11 years old." What began as a heartfelt rescue mission blossomed into a beautiful initiative, led by the inspiring Emma. From saving a single unwanted dog, she envisioned a vibrant community service model, and now she was on the cusp of training a new generation of young handlers to continue this important work. "I'll need help," Emma said with determination. "Teaching is different from doing." "You'll have all the support you could wish for," Sarah reassured her warmly. "The Foundation, Mrs. Wilson, and even Ms. Parker are eager to help you create the right educational materials." With a gentle smile, she added, "And remember, you have all of Dad's wisdom to guide you." As the sun began to set over Oak Ridge, the celebration at the newly established training center came to a close. Visitors left with smiles and promises to return, while Foundation representatives scheduled follow-up meetings. The last of the community's supporters lent a hand in tidying up, filling the air with laughter and camaraderie. Finally, only the Thompson family and Thunder remained, standing proudly at the entrance of a facility that had risen from the ashes. Sarah wrapped her arms around her daughter's shoulders, both gazing at the illuminated sign above the door. "Your father always spoke of legacy," she said softly, "the importance of leaving something meaningful behind. He would be in awe of what you've created." Emma leaned into her mother's embrace, feeling Thunder's comforting presence beside her. The journey had been more challenging, yet more rewarding than she could have ever imagined when she first clutched her coffee tin of savings at that auction barn. A 10-year-old's spontaneous act of compassion had not only transformed one dog's life, but had also reshaped an entire community's understanding of service, partnership, and boundless possibility. As they walked home, the lights of the training center illuminating their path, Emma pondered the question that Thunder's warm amber eyes had posed her on that first day. Why would someone choose what others had rejected? The answer had become clear. Sometimes the very things that others overlook hold the greatest potential, not in spite of their flaws, but because of them. In saving Thunder, Emma had discovered a way to navigate her grief. In helping Thunder realize his purpose, she had unearthed her own. Through their partnership, they both found a healing that neither could have achieved alone, a lesson that would extend beyond Oak Ridge for years to come. In our later years, we often reflect on the legacies we leave behind. Emma and Thunder's journey reminds us that our greatest contributions can arise from the most unexpected places. a child's compassion, and a creature's resilience. By choosing Thunder, despite his imperfections, Emma displayed a profound truth: that value is never diminished by flaw. Their journey reminds us that healing is a beautiful cycle. In reaching out to others, we often find our own healing. For anyone facing health challenges or feeling adrift as time passes, Thunder's incredible transformation is a beacon of hope. His greatest service blossomed not in spite of his seizures, but because of them. He forged deep connections with children who knew what it meant to be vulnerable. Just like Thunder, your own struggles can uniquely empower you to make a difference in ways that others might not see. Remember, it's never too late to find purpose, build a community, or turn pain into a profound mission. The most inspiring legacies often begin when we recognize potential where others see limitations. I hope you felt uplifted by today's story. Don't forget to subscribe so you can continue to be inspired by more stories like this. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments below. I can't wait to see you in the next video.